Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is WoW Wellness Weekly Team Call, and we are focusing on team building and business building. And I just want to explain, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dr. Sheila. I have a passion for helping people get their health back. But I also have learned over the last several years, God has just made it very clear that when we don't have financial health, we don't have choices. And we've seen this happen to so many people. And even in my own life as a single mom, most of the time working multiple jobs just to put food on the table, that, oh gosh, my poor kids were raised on dollar menu at McDonald's. It's awful. I didn't have choices. I was broke. I didn't have resources. And oh, I just don't want people to live that way. I don't think God put us on the planet for that. When we don't have anything, what can we do for humanity? We can't. I don't like being the one who needs help. I want to be the one that helps. And I can only do that when I have abundance. And I think the Bible is very clear about that. So my mission to finding the very best things to empower the individual person, whether it's the very best supplements, the very best technologies, with that, I love the fact that we have this model of network marketing, relationship building, that we get paid for helping people get their health back. We get paid very well. And that gives us financial health and financial freedom so that we are not in bondage. We weren't put here to be in bondage. When you don't have resources and you don't have healthy finances, you're kind of in bondage and your choices are limited. Just like when people come into the clinic and they're like, I can't afford these great supplements. I buy mine at Walmart. And I'm like, you're throwing your money away. Not good for you. Well, what do they do when they don't have the money and they can't afford to eat organic food? We just can't, it's not in our budget. Organic food's expensive. Okay, so we need to do something about financial health so that your physical health can be what it needs to be. So I'm very grateful for Solex coming across my path and learning about Lauren and his heart for humanity and his mission, because it's in complete alignment with what God's put into my heart as well, of empowering the individual to have the very best resources to take care of themselves, especially after what we just went through the last few years of people being denied care, not able to get out, not being able to get help. That cannot happen again. And with our scanner, that's why I love this thing, because now people can find information. They don't have to go somewhere else, but they can find information, for one, what they need to be doing to support themselves, or if they need to go get help, because oftentimes we go looking for help, not knowing if we really need it. And oftentimes, I mean, how frustrating is it when you think that something's really wrong and you go pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to have all these diagnostics run to find out there's nothing really wrong or nothing they can find? That's a real kick in the stomach. So what if you can scan yourself and find information that can tell you things they can't even tell you, so that you can make better decisions for yourself? So in that, we've got some people that are using this in lots of different ways and sharing it in lots of different ways. My passion is really about giving people the very best tools and being able to earn a very substantial passive residual that offers me time freedom and financial freedom, so that I can do more of God's work instead of the daily grind of one-on-one, back-to-back all the time. I can't do all the things that he's put on my heart to do when I am doing that, and I'll never get to retire. So I love that with this company, we're going to have the opportunity of empowering so many people on such a profound level, and to be able to offer them time freedom and financial freedom too, if they're interested. So we've got a fairly new member to our team, Chelsea, I don't do MLMs, Barlow, that she's just a creative genius. I've known this lady for many years, and I'm just always intrigued. She's just got such amazing wisdom, and the way that her role here in life is very different than mine, and hers just blows my mind. I'm not wired like she is, but I'm always very intrigued to listen to the things that she does and the kinds of people that she's helping. And, she took a look at the scanner, and, that's good, and helping her friend Sandy. And the more she got to using it, I think it started catching. So I really wanted her to share her journey, it's only been a couple of months and she's already qualified for our Punta Cana incentive trip. And I know that it can happen quickly, but I didn't think somebody would do it that fast. So Chelsea, I know you're busy and you can't usually make these weekly team calls. And so I really appreciate your willingness to carve that time out to share, because what you did was powerful and it could really help someone else.
Oh, I'm still sitting here going, whoa. That was awesome. And it was fun. That's the thing. It wasn't, I went into it not selling with the idea of selling. I went into the Zoom call with a group of women, just kind of in my realm of influence, that it was a particular niche for the most part. Some people that really understood the other work that I do other than naturopathy. And what I do is I'm a prayer coach. And what that means is that I help release strongholds. And a lot of my clients are survivors of satanic ritual abuse. They are people who went through government-sponsored mind control, and they have dissociative identity disorder. So an old-fashioned term would be multiple personalities. And one of the things that I've been doing is working with some of those clients, hearing their alters' inner voices, not just them. And it's been eye-opening, because when we want to hear their stories too, they need to be heard, these alters, because they've got their own testimony of injustice. And so to hear them, it allows also the release of some trapped emotions. And I like to have them engage and meet Jesus. So it's the weirdest form of evangelism too. But that's some of the work that I do. And the community that I talked to in my Zoom call last weekend, most of them are really they're in that community, or they understand it. They're very familiar with it. So it was a helpful niche that I was able to address specifically on some of those key, if I were to use a term, a pain point for them. I was able to meet their need. And then my niece Megan asked me if I'd do a Zoom call with her, and I said yes, to help her grow her downline. And I said, who's your target audience? And she said millennials and Gen Z. And I went, okay, so teach me about millennials and Gen Z, because I don't get them. I don't get them. And so she has to approach, that's her person. Like if she's going to be talking one-on-one, she's going to be talking to a millennial. We need to understand what makes their mind tick and their struggles. And it's different than the struggles that I met with the other day. Okay. And so finding the person, I would say the best game I played that taught me this was Apples to Apples. Have any of you played that game before? It's where you play to the judge, but you have to know this judge, the person that you want to win, you want them to pick you. So you have to know what kind of makes them tick, and then to play your cards in a way where they get it and they get you. And it's a really neat game. And it's I teach from that game principle a lot. So my niche at that Zoom call was definitely a community that understood DID and understood, I'll say hi to Bob. Awesome. He's gonna, I hear beeps, by the way. So that group was real specific, but the millennials will be a whole different approach to working with, communicating with them. But one of my important, there's Janine. One of the things that I say was what was the key to success in my, this is the first time I posted about it. I posted an authentic, vulnerable post. Okay. Not too much information, but it was truly my story and my family story a little bit. I didn't allude to what helped my husband, but long story short, he was having AFib while we were in North Carolina, and I broadcasted to him, and within the 2-minute broadcast, it resolved. And it just turned into this crazy, and he hasn't had AFib again, but he had a stroke in 2020, which was part of my testimony too. Like it led into depression. And the thing is with the stroke, he forgets to drink. So his heart is the one that tattletales on him. So his heart does palpitations, tachycardia, and now AFib, apparently, if it really needs to get his attention. And so it takes a long time for his heart to snap out of that and get back into rhythm. But 6 times now, 6, I've been able to resolve it during the broadcast. So he's a believer in the AO scan, and he's my healthy skeptic, Gary.
That was kind of crazy.
It was crazy. So anyways, knowing your audience and the uniqueness of your audience is real important, but your authenticity and your testimony about what made you a believer, I didn't use that word believer, but what enrolled you in being really amazed by the AO scanner. That's what people need. They need to know what specifically, what's your story. I shared about working with a client. I had worked with her already, and then a couple weeks later, she and her daughter both texted me saying, I'm really sick, or my mom is really sick. Can you help her? And so I sent her frequency. She was having fluid in her lungs. This is an 80-year-old woman, fluid in her lungs. And so I sent her some frequencies at night, and then I didn't hear from her for a few days. So I checked back in with her. I was like, she must have gone to the emergency room or something. She goes, oh no, that went away. So those types of stories people want to hear. And I'm not saying it cured a disease. I'm just saying something resolved. And so those stories are really helpful. But the vulnerable, authentic, and I'm not talking about so vulnerable that you feel shamed afterwards, or like, but you're laying out your dirty laundry or anything like that. But people need to know that you're coming from a place of your heart and your experience. And that's where they hear, that's what opens them up to being able to hear all the benefits of the AO scan. And so I was able to share that with them. And then I gave them a tour of all the or a bunch of the features of the scan. And Sandy gave great input. My ride or die sister, she was great on the call too. And that's just kind of where it went. So I still have, I would say, about 6 people that they're considering getting the scanner, and a new one tonight, my cross the street neighbor. I just walked over there to say hey, and told him about tonight. And then he just got wide-eyed and said, tell me more, send me a link. I thought that's interesting. He's in his 70s, never been married, no kids. And this still interested him. And I thought, that's not expected. I didn't expect that at all. But we've had such a good relationship for 20 years that it was an easy conversation with people. So I'm trying to think of other things, but knowing who your audience is, knowing where your testimony touches them, knowing where that speaks, and being able to introduce it to them naturally. I actually, true confession here, I have no interest in going to Punta Cana. None. This was just a natural flow out of my story. I don't like beaches. So it's kitty litter to me. I'm not saying the trip's bad. It's just not, I'm a mountain girl and lake, but not big giant ocean. I think it's too much water. But so my drive wasn't to win the trip, but it was just to get this in the hands of my friends, my clients. And, I can still be their naturopath. There's so much in this device where they can meet their emotional and some physical needs at home. And then I take care of the heavy stuff, the big boulders if they need. And it works really well. And then my clients that have dissociative identity disorder, they can hear and understand their alters and what's driving their alters and the things they're frustrated with in a new way. Something, because we don't always have words, even just with one mind, we don't always have the words to say what we're feeling. And so this gives them the ability to have a voice for those alters that aren't even speaking. Some of them don't speak. Some of them just are there, or they're not they don't feel safe to be authentic and vulnerable and share what's going on. And so this is a way of doing that. And one of the things that came up in the Zoom call was someone asked, well, what if, like, they say you need love? I said, well, the inner voice is something that enables us to receive it because we get ourselves out of the way. And that's the same thing for the altars. And eventually they can be healed and reintegrate. And so that's one of the things that I'm interested in, is finding that those extra points to be able to reintegrate somebody. But I don't rush it, because each of their altars has a story, has a testimony, and it's really powerful. And I want to know it. I care. So just being able to understand them a little better has been a really neat tool. So that's a really rare and unique niche. And I know that this group of ladies knew what I was talking about. Now with my niece going to talk to millennials, I need to understand millennials a little better. I might let her lead, and then I can explain the clinical applications that I've been experiencing for 10 years and be able to bring in that piece of it with my testimony and her testimony. And I think that we could be an effective team. So meeting the audience is the goal.
Yeah, that is powerful. And the fact that your niche is so unique, some of us might know people that are kind of in that realm, to where now we have a personal testimony of how you're using it, what you're experiencing, and how we can empower those other people that are in our circles. That, because none of us can reach everybody. I mean, we can't. It's taking all of us to reach the world. We are a ripple effect. And so again, why I love the collaboration, because everyone is so unique. We all have a different mission. But we might know people like Chelsea, maybe, that are into that kind of thing. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I don't have the skills, but I might know somebody, and the AO scanner could really help them in their practice. That's powerful. I never would have thought of all the things that you just told us. And for those of you that don't know, what Chelsea did was she hosted a webinar. Was it Friday night?
Saturday morning.
She hosted a webinar with quite a few people, and she just shared, her journey with learning about this scanner, and then how it really started catching, because it just started making sense to her, and the way that she was using it in the things that she do, the very unique things that she does, and with her own husband and herself and her own personal story. I mean, I think that was what really convinced her that she needed to take a deeper look at this thing, because she felt the effects really quickly. I don't know if you shared that or care to share that.
I didn't share that. So what happened with me? I waited because I wanted to be Sandy's downline. So I was waiting for Sandy, and Sheila and Sandy got that working, but I wanted Sandy in there. And so I waited until Sandy was ready. But I had been in a depression since 2020. Okay. I don't know if you saw the back office basic training, but I think Deborah Bruce talked about how anger was extremely elevated since 2020. And I'm definitely an activist on top of a naturopath and stuff. So I have been a fighter for vaccine choice, no mandates, since 2015. And so there was a lot of anger there. In fact, every scan I had anger for the first month, every single one. And I was just sharing that. I was like, I need to buy a tiara that says angry. I need to own that. It's not a bad emotion. It's one that I don't want to hurt my body, but I need to be responsible with that emotion and actually benefit the planet with it. I don't think anger is a bad thing unless it hurts me, or if I hurt somebody else with it, and then it goes bad. But the depression happened 2020. My husband had a stroke during COVID. So that's its own nightmare. Okay. And then I got bacterial pneumonia from the grief and wearing the mask, streptococcal pneumonia, and all the gaslighting that came on with that, with people saying that I had COVID when I had antibiotics working on the pneumonia. And then false accusations in several different areas of my life, along with what we called snowvid, where the entire state of Texas froze for days. didn't get above freezing and our power grid failed. And we were without power, which we were fine because I'm a prepper, and we we ate like kings of old, just with no electricity. So now you see why the blanket's on the bed. But it really damaged about 60% of our pools. We have a pool business. My husband does repairs, remodel, and we have maintenance and stuff like that. But the pools were broken because their freeze protection had no power to stay on, and everything froze and busted. And then we had supply chain issues and dealing with not just COVID, but we had the supply chain issues and Bob's traumatic brain injury. That's what I was trying to say. His TBI from the stroke, trying to manage an entire company with the brain injury and supply chain issues and all these repairs. It was really hard. And then even last year, it was really hard. We had this incredible aphid situation that really was weird, not normal for us. Anyway, so we've had all these things, the false accusations from multiple places. It was really weird how so many of those came around, and a bunch of them got resolved, but it kept me in a funk, a deep funk. And I was still able to hold joy. So most people didn't realize I was in a depression, because I do still carry joy. I can hold joy and sorrow. Okay. But that sorrow went deep. So the first time I ran the scanner, I signed up, and then I put it on my phone because you could, and I didn't even wait for the thing to come in the mail, and ran that first inner voice, and it felt like that depression lifted off of me. When I was a kid, I used to put Elmer's glue on my hand and then peel it off. Thought that was so cool. That's what it felt like. And it peeled off and went to heaven. And it was just, I mean, I remember dancing. We were on vacation in Texas Hill Country. And I remember dancing in the bathroom because it felt so good to have had that peel off. And it was kind of scary how long it had lingered, you know, and just, I'm so grateful. So I run that inner voice, and I feel the relief. So that's my testimony. And the fact that Bob gets help, my kids get helped, my clients get helped. I can work with clients still. It doesn't erase me as their naturopath. They get daily support and can see me with it, or they can choose, and I can see somebody else. I have more time for someone else if they have resolved their issues. So that's kind of my story and why I did it, and the things I shared in my testimony with these ladies.
That is just powerful. Mandy was asking, how did you sell the webinar that you were going to host?
Okay, so on Facebook, I shared my first post, and I just said, y'all, you've never seen me represent an MLM ever. I've used them. I don't have a problem with them, but I've never sold this. So this is coming from my place of authenticity, where I was willing to say, this time I'm saying something, and I support it, and you can have it. And then I shared, somebody reached out to me and asked if I could do a Zoom for her and a friend in the UK. And so we found a time that worked for East Pacific time and the UK, and it was 10 a.m. Saturday. So I invited people, and they came. And then I put it up on YouTube. I have my video up on YouTube. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. So anytime someone says, can I see that? So I made sure people in my post said, add me, because I never want to be the kind of person that goes into Messenger and spams all my friends, ever. I won't even look if somebody does that. Okay. And so it was informed consent. I'm a huge proponent. A huge supporter of informed consent. So if they said add me, I would send them the replay because they missed it. And then I would follow up with them afterwards. And a few of them weren't able to do it during the special, or the one I was targeting, the QLA and the $50 coupon. But there's some people, one woman tried to tonight, there was some glitch, she's going to work on it tomorrow. And then there's some other people that are still considering. So
that is awesome. And I know Dr. Janine just had a webinar this evening, and she had a massive turnout. We'll probably won't have time to share tonight, because I do have the free Zoom that doesn't last for long. But hopefully Dr. Janine will come back next week and share her results from this week. And Daryl, I think they collaborated, so he may have some awesome things to share as well. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap this up? Chelsea, thank you so much. And I know this was not convenient for you to come and do this, but I'm really grateful that you took time, because I think it was really important for people to hear from you.
Yeah. I'm happy to. I'm sorry about the chaos around here. This is life with big dogs.
It's just life.
3 big dogs and 4 kids still at home. So it's a big hopping family. Let's see. Can I share the link, because this is about to poop out? Can I share the link in the chat to my YouTube?
Yes, please do. Everyone go copy that link.
Let's see. This link, y'all need to know, this is really kind of a specific group of people. And so I want you to know that this isn't something that I would say is going to be, don't copy and paste. You've got to really work with your unique niche.
Yep. That's exactly right. But it's very helpful to go and watch the conversations that were had and just the way that it was talked about, because again, this is the mindset of the new network marketing model. Network marketing is the most powerful way to financial freedom. If you listen to all of the financial experts, Robert Kiyosaki is one of my favorites. He's just a very gentle, kind, wise man, and I love his cash flow quadrant. It was a powerful read for me that really shifted my mindset about how I thought owning my own business was going to give me freedom from working from someone else, when it actually put me in bondage. It's exhausting. I'm wearing 20 hats myself, and if I take a day off, I don't have money. How am I going to retire? It's just not a model that's going to offer me time freedom. Certainly not time freedom. I work way too much, and I won't have financial freedom. So then the only ways to freedom are investing in network marketing. I didn't have money to invest. I tried doing all the trading, all that. You have to spend years studying this stuff. Real estate, there's so much to learn about that. I didn't have time for all that stuff, because how am I going to make money while I'm going back to school for all that stuff? So investing wasn't going to work for me. Network marketing completely changed my life. And what used to make me vomit, God showed me through another company right before COVID hit, how people were losing their businesses and their jobs and their livelihoods. And this thing that we had was giving that back to them literally within months, completely freeing them financially. I've never seen that happen in my life. And so my passion is about having the very best things to empower people, that when they share it with everybody they care about, they're getting thanked very, very well. And any company that uses this model, they can get their things out to people so much faster and so much easier than going through corrupt corporate America. I do not want to put another dollar into corrupt corporate America. I want it in the hands of the consumer. And I believe that that is what God wants for us as well. So I'm really passionate about this, but we're not selling. We are empowering people.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to interject just a minute. I know Chelsea said that, but like we thought just a small group of people. I think I found out we were going to do it like an hour before we actually went on. So I was like in my vehicle. It was not some production, it was very kind of spontaneous. And so it actually made me a little nervous when everybody started wanting recordings of it, because I was like, whoa, we were just kind of very informal and being ourselves and just thinking we were talking to just this little kind of specific niche of people. So like we might have approached it a little differently had we been thinking that it was going to be shared so much, but that is the power of it. Like we weren't trying to be like scripted or whatever. I was sitting in my vehicle and we worked together on other things anyway. So we have a rapport, and that conversational, I do think the conversational thing, a lot of people enjoy that, instead of a monologue so much, just to kind of bounce things back and forth and joke a little bit and just be yourself. I really think that resonates with people. So yeah, even though I was a little like, oh gosh, this is going, all these people are listening to this, and we weren't really thinking that when we did it. So but it worked.
It was kind of spontaneous, because it was
spontaneous.
And I was like, can I invite people? And then there was people. And the other thing was I was jumping into this going, okay, I'm going to just do this and figure out where I need to fix things, like how I need to fix communication so that Sandy and I can actually produce something in the future that is better polished. But it seemed to be actually very effective and comfortable and enjoyable to listen to. So it was just kind of, I was willing to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. And that was a big part of it. Sandy and I were going to learn from those mistakes and then make something better later. And it just turned out to be great.
That is a really important point, and that is another thing that I really want to help people get is stop waiting till you think you've got it perfect or you think you're the expert. You're never going to be perfect and you're never going to be an expert. We don't have to be. We have things to empower people, to help them, and we can't wait. They need it right now. People need this right now. You have no idea what they're dealing with or all the money they're wasting in other places that they can be empowered in their own home. We don't have to be perfect. They don't want us to be perfect because if, like you were saying, polishing it, and that's great for some things, but if we're always like perfect and everything's polished, that's a lot of work. And other people are going to think that is just way too much. I can't do that. Just be yourself. You are sharing information. You have something that people need to know about. And that's really the magic. And, you know, like you said, Sandy, the conversation, engagement. We want to engage people. We don't want to talk at them. We want to talk with them, hear their pain points. What are their needs? Because we have the solution. So that's just golden. I think you guys, even though you winged it, that's the power of it, I think, because it was very authentic and it was just real. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. That it was just powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We only have a couple of seconds, but I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for our AO family. God is good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheila.
Mwah. So we're going to wrap it up, folks. We will see you next week. And I think Dr. Janine and Dr. Daryl are going to have a lot to share next week with us as well.
That'll be fun. I'll see you guys. Thank you, Chelsea. You did amazing and you inspired me.
Oh, good. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.